Time for an obscure Japanese game that never got released in North America until recently. It's Gley Lancer on the Sega Genesis. Year 2025 of the space era. Man, if this doesn't happen in 3 years, I'm gonna be pissed. Invaders attack from deep space, heavily outnumbering the Earth Federation forces. The Earth Federation Navy's first fleet. They are so totally fucked. The flagship Oberon. Major damage to the battleship Garngalva. The heavy cruiser Cormoran has been sunk. In space, without an ocean. We've lost 15% of our fleet. How can they have this much power? Sir, it'll be 7 minutes before we can commence withdrawal of our entire fleet. At this rate, our losses could reach 30%. 30%? The enemy's fleet is starting to move. They're amassing at 1 o'clock. Distance 20. What are they doing? It's the enemy! They warped right beside us! Ah, great. I know how this is gonna go. I've seen plenty of Star Trek. Everybody wearing a red shirt is going to die right now. So say goodbye to that guy on the right. The heavy cruiser Titania. What's that? Ah! What's the matter? The Oberon. The Genesis loves to do this effect. Everything just waves around and then disappears. Goodbye, Oberon. This can't be. There was no warp reaction from the flagship itself. You're saying they captured the entire ship? I'm afraid so. Incredible. The Earth Federation Navy's second fleet. Nowhere near as fucked as the first fleet because we got an ace pilot on our hands. The carrier Ariel. Under the stars. What? Come in, Ensign Cabrock. What kind of an ensign is that young? She's like 15 or 16. Ensign Cabrock. Lucia. Captain? You need to steady yourself for what I'm about to tell you. Your father, Admiral Cabrock's vessel. Did something happen to my father? A dispatch came in a little while ago. We don't know all the details yet, but it seems that the Admiral's ship was warped to another sector by the enemy. How's the pursuit going? By tracing the stellar wake, we know approximately where it ended up, but... Are you saying they're on their own? The enemy fleet has much more firepower than we were prepared for. There is no way we can defeat them right now. How awful. However, we are rapidly completing a new type of fighter. After it's ready, we just might be able to win. We must be patient for a little while longer. But he'll be dead by then. This is the military's decision. I'm sorry, Lucia. This is a pretty heavy story for a 16-bit space shooter. We're getting way ahead of our time here. The girl is sad now. Great, but the girl is sad. Thank you, game. Thanks. Father. What's the matter, Lucia? My father's ship. The enemy, No way, they sunk it? No, it's somewhere in another region in space. It seems they have ship transporter devices. Well, he's still alive then, right? I don't know. I just don't know. What about the Navy? What are they doing? At their current level of strength, there's no hope they can win. That's terrible. And that's a very anime haircut. But there is a new fighter in development. If they can use it, then you can't wait for that. You must go now. But if it's the same one you're talking about, there's a prototype on the ship. I heard Commander Ruse talking about it. Huh? I'll help you. Go save your father. Time. Or Tim. I think it's Tim. What's the matter? Something's happening in the dock. An intruder. It's Bay 14. Someone's taken the new fighter. What? Communication channel opened. To whoever is piloting the CSH-01XA, this is Control. Respond. This is Ensign Cabrock. Lucia! It's still being tested. We don't know what will happen. Desist immediately. My father, he'll be killed. I understand how you feel, but it's too dangerous. The hatch is opening. We won't be able to stop her in time. I will definitely return home alive. Please let me go. Let her go. But this situation is heartrending for me too. Let her go. Father, please don't die. Believe it or not, that introductory cutscene is way longer than Mega Man X3's. Now, Gley Lancer has 3 different difficulty settings, or 4 if you beat the game once. You'll have unlimited continues no matter what, but if you get a game over, you have to start a stage over and your score will go back to 0. Story mode is whether or not you want cutscenes to play in between levels. They aren't anything too egregious, the cutscenes are literally just a minute long at most. Then there's shot options. Do not choose auto, go with manual. If you choose auto, then the game is practically playing itself at that point, as the ship will fire automatically without your input. Selecting manual will give you more freedom over your guns, and you could just hold down the shoot button for rapid fire anyway.
Stick to it and believe in your power.
A voice clip so cool, even the drums for the song cut out. This first area right here is tricky. It's one of the trickier areas of the game because of the background here. Now, I am a sucker for Parallax Scrolling, and this is a really good looking game for 1992. But there will come a time where I have to actually start paying attention and avoiding stuff that looks like it should be in the background, but in reality it's in the foreground and is about to hit me. It doesn't make this area 1 here bad, it's just something you have to get used to real quickly. And funny thing is, this game never makes use of the parallax scrolling like that again. Like right there, I almost got hit by those enemies. I thought they were in the background.
Fragments are approaching.
Oh great, it's Jupiter. It's always fucking Jupiter. That background does look really fantastic though. This could pass off as a Super Nintendo game. Like Super R-Type or something. Just without all the asteroids, as all those sprites would probably crash the system really quickly. This game features 6 different weapons to have fun with. First off, you got the laser, which I'm currently holding, which is armor piercing and it does extreme damage. Then you got the twin shots, which is not as useful as the laser, but still gets the job done. Then you got the spread bombs, which is super powerful. I think that's the most powerful weapon in the game. And then you got the other 3 lesser weapons, in my opinion. We'll be seeing those later. Fourthly, you got the Saber Attack, which is a short-range lightsaber kind of. Well, it's called the Saber, so no shit. It's a lightsaber attack which blocks certain projectiles coming your way, and it's super powerful. And then you got the Flamethrower, which is a flamethrower. And then lastly, you got the 5-way, which is a spread shot, but it's super weak. Alright, boss time. And I like the boss theme in this game too. It's one of those games that use 3 different boss themes for different situations. This guy is kind of hard because he's throwing projectiles at you which can blend in with the asteroids in the background. But this guy, along with 70% of the bosses in Gley Lancer, just go down super freaking quickly. It doesn't matter if you're playing on easy, normal, maniac, hard, the bosses will always have the same amount of health no matter what, which is not that much to begin with. Their strategies will be different though, like some of their attacks will be more sporadic and there will be more bullets on the screen, but their health, nope, that remains the same. Alright, so stage 2, and there's more parallax scrolling, but it's not so much a detriment, it's more like scenery porn, which is good. I like this game's graphics, like I said before. Looking at this reminds me of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, how that game used its parallax scrolling. And actually I think this game predated Sonic 2 by like 3 or 4 months, so it should be the other way around. Anyway, you want to stick with the laser or at least the twin shot options through most of the stage, as they will do massive damage to those tankier airships. Just be careful not to die. It's not so much a ball busting penalty like it is in R-Type or specifically Gradius, because you just game over if you die once. There's no chance in Gradius. But in this game there is a checkpoint system, and leveling up your plane is not so much a problem. It just takes 2 pods and that's it. If you're looking for a challenging space shooter, then Gley Lancer may not be for you, unfortunately. Or just play it on the hardest difficulty, then at that point then it's hard. But if you're looking for a beginner-friendly game, then hey, go ahead, play this game, it's fun. And you can gain lives so damn quickly in this game. Just like in Contra, just racking up the score will give you extra lives. And Lucia will become a cat. Well, actually no, she can't be a cat because the score actually surpasses 9. You can go into double digits. And while we're on the subject of Lucia, meet Lucia, the main heroine of this game. She's kind of like Liam Neeson if somehow the father-daughter kidnapping dynamic was played in reverse, and there's a spaceship involved. This game is literally just the plotline to the movie Taken, except for the fact that the teenage girl is actually rescuing the father, and presumably comrades too, but they're not important, they're just red shirts. We're in it for the dad here. Lucia is just an ensign, or as I can read it, ensign because I'm illiterate. But no, what an ensign is the first officer rank in a navy, so Lucia is a greenhorn. She doesn't really know what she's doing, and yet she's piloting a super advanced prototype. Yeah, okay then. But Lucia couldn't accomplish this on her own. She had to have help from her pink-haired friend Tim, or Time, or TM, or Timmy Turner. I don't know how to pronounce that name, I'm sorry. To get her hands on this prototype. And I was talking over that boss. Whoops. That squid creature will throw its arm out at you, which you have to dodge, and it also does like a 5-way spread shot, which you have to weave in through the bullets. That's about it. Okay, maybe not. You have to avoid missiles too, which the squid will shoot out. You can destroy those on easier difficulties. On hard and maniac, you have to avoid those. But yeah, Lucia is vaguely in the age range of somewhere between 15 to 18. The endgame story doesn't elaborate on it too much, for what little there is actually, and the manual is Japanese only, so I wouldn't be able to understand anyway. I forgot to mention that this game was Japanese only for the longest time. It was basically the Seiken Densetsu 3 of the Sega Genesis, which is unfortunate because this game was really good, and it should have been released in other regions, and I don't know why it wasn't. But hey, it's released now on the PS4 and PS5, and I think the Series X too. I know it's on the Switch. You should get it, it's like $5. It's really cheap. I mean, it's better than actually paying for a legitimate cartridge of it. I mean, why does it cost so much? I mean, sure, you got the chibi-esque artwork of the characters on the cartridge, which is kind of adorable. I do like that. But goddamn, I'm not paying $100 to $200 for that shit. This game is, or at least it was, very rare to get. It wasn't until the advent of emulation and the Wii Virtual Console that really made this game kind of more popular, but not really. Gley Lancer is very much a cult classic. It's hard to tell whether or not this game actually sold well, considering it stayed in Japan until 2008 with its Wii release. And then yet another 10 to 12 years went by without any sort of Gley Lancer re-release or, hell, even a sequel. There's still no sequels to this game. And then 2021, oh, it's Gley Lancer on the PS5. Sweet! And with that said, the modern re-release of Gley Lancer is not just a one-for-one port of the original game. Even though it kind of is, it's still got the same music and the same graphics as it were in 1992. But you got more buttons to work with. Not just the 3-button controller on the Sega Genesis. You can adjust your options, or as the game calls them, movers on the fly. So basically, I'm on search right now, which will make the movers just aim towards a target and shoot directly at them. But if you ever get tired of the search option, you could just press the circle button in order to change the mover style. This was something that you cannot do in the original game. So basically, in the original version, if you picked the search option, or the roll option, or the multi option, you're staying with that particular option until the end of the game. Another thing that's cool about this re-release is that everything is properly translated now, even though it's just kind of the fan translation. But still, I'm not reading Japanese and I don't have to translate myself what's going on. I can just read what's going on screen now. The boss of Stage 3 is a giant heart. Wow, how cliché. What's not cliché is that the heart itself is attacking you though. Very, very slowly. It's got indestructible bullets as well as bullets that look like sperm cells. Scientifically speaking, not... Okay, they do look kind of like sperm cells. I'm not gonna lie. Is Neff first? Is this my father? Kim Cabrock of Earth Fleet. Father, it's me. Can you hear me? It's Lucia. Lucia? Lucia? I'm on my way to save you. Hold out a little longer. What's going on? Father? Stage 4. Okay, minor nitpick. I hate how they write the number 4 in this game, and just how people write the number 4 in general, because they make it look like 9s. 4 and 9s aren't supposed to be the same goddamn number. Okay, now that that's out of my system, and before I go on a tangent about how Oscars and zeros should not be on password screens, let me explain the level. It is very much a speed-up section from Gradius. This is nowhere near as stressful as in those games, but you still have to watch out for enemy attacks and walls and stuff, which you have plenty of time to dodge. And this stage theme is absolutely amazing. If there's anything to take away from Gley Lancer, it's got a pretty good soundtrack. I mean, sure, there is that gritty Genesis synthesizer guitar throughout most of the soundtrack, but you probably wouldn't mind it. The synth guitars fit well for the most part. I mean, it is a space shooter on the Sega Genesis, and a almost pretty frantic one, but not really. It's more on the chill side. And if you want guitars for a space shooter on the Sega Genesis that completely rock face, you play Musha or Thunder Force 4. Those guitars are absolutely genius. There are people out there that think that the Mega Drive sound chip is not good, or, just terrible overall, and to that I say, there's more to life than just Crazy Bus. You don't have to worry about Crazy Bus. It can't hurt you anymore. Where am I going with this tangent? But no, there are plenty of soundtracks on the Sega Genesis that are phenomenal, and I truly mean phenomenal. You got Streets of Rage, you got Sonic, Golden Axe 1 and 2, not so much 3, but definitely the first 2 Golden Axe have really good soundtracks. And I will say for the record that the Sega Genesis sound hardware is pretty much equal to the Super Nintendo sound hardware in terms of quality. Yes, different qualities, but quality nonetheless. Both systems have pros and cons, both systems have their good and bad soundtracks. Super Nintendo's reverb and very echoey, so some of the instruments could just get lost in translation, if you know what I mean. And the Sega Genesis is the complete opposite in the other end. It's bassy and it's obnoxious in some cases, and your parents may tell you to turn the TV down. Yep, I grew up with the Sega Genesis, and I had my parents tell me to turn the TV down a lot. Those were fun times. And I grew up with a Model 2. I didn't have a Model 1 with the headphone jacks. I do now, but not back then. And much to my surprise, my Sega Genesis is still working to this day. I ran through like 2 PlayStation 2s and somehow a console that's older than me, and games that are from like 1992 and probably earlier are still working. I don't know how that is possible. I forgot to talk about the bound weapon. It only appears in certain levels, so that's probably why I forgot. It's a green shot that bounces off walls and ceilings. This boss fight is pretty simple. This eye creature machine thing stays in the walls but will teleport around the room. The arena will get smaller and smaller as the walls will start to close in on you. Be careful of that, and also be careful of the ricochet shots that the enemy will shoot at you. And I make a dumb mistake here and ran into the ceiling for some stupid reason. I don't know why. This boss fight is usually easy, but I just start back at the beginning of the fight, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, definitely go with the Saber weapon for this boss fight.
Danger, 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 danger.
The voice samples in this game are not that good. But they do have a charm to it. Like at the beginning of the game, you'll hear the computer say, "Stick to it and believe in your power." It's incredibly cheesy, but it's oddly cool at the same time. If the developers had more time and resources to put voice samples into the cutscenes, they would've. But then again, they probably would've sound terrible. And also, voice samples take up a lot of space on the Sega Genesis cartridge. Did you know that the Sega chant from Sonic 1 specifically, took up 1/8 of memory space? That is ridiculous. It's fascinating how 8-bit and 16-bit titles all the way up until like the PlayStation 2 era got around hardware limitations. Nowadays we have indie titles that say fuck hardware limitations, we're gonna do what we want. And also have the bells and whistles of your classic games that you like. Here's the 5-way in action. It's not my favorite weapon, it's kind of weak compared to most other spread shots, but it gets the job done. Anyway, here's the obligatory Space Fortress Assault mission that every space shooter needs to have for some reason. It's a mission where you, well, assault a space fortress. There's nothing really special about this part. You have to watch out for turrets and enemy fighters that come from the space fortress. Why does that part of the song remind me of Sailor Moon for some reason? These spaceships will shoot the moment they appear, so be careful. And remember that there are no shields in Gley Lancer. You can't pick up an item that will give you an extra hit. It's one hit and you're dead throughout the game, so you gotta dodge, and you gotta dodge well. Now for the undercarriage of the ship. It's much of the same as before, except the turrets shoot straight down. Burner's really good for this situation, but then again, almost any weapon for this part is good because it's not that hard. I know the criminal emperor or whoever owns this ship is going to be pissed as soon as he finds out how much damage I did to it. That is if there's really a main villain to this game. Newsflash, there is no villain to this game. It's just kind of this mysterious empire that's destroying Earth for some reason. You would think the enemies would have a bit more characterization other than just, hey, they kidnapped your father. Your father's the Admiral of the Navy. Go get him. This is just generic army number 47. This boss fight is actually pretty challenging. You may want to switch your movers to Shadow for this one. There are 3 sections you have to destroy in this guy. The top dorsal fin, the cockpit, and then the ship itself. This first phase is not that bad, he just shoots a straight laser and a couple of bullets. The second form, however, is when things get really difficult. He'll start to shoot bullets out like crazy. He'll also throw out his faceplate / cockpit. You have to destroy that. And for his last form, he pretty much does the same as his second form, except he's missing the faceplate. He still shoots a dozen bullets at you, and they are destructible bullets, yes, but if you get cornered, there's really nothing you could do about that. Boss down! Now there are going to be 2 pods coming up here. Shoot the top pod in order to get the extra life before the screen transitions. That's going to be the end of part 1 of Gley Lancer. I'll see you for part 2, which is the finale. Yeah, it's a short game.